Space. The Final Frontier. Oh no, wait, that's the wrong movie. Space is big. Really big. You just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. Douglas Adams. In this video, we will be covering the life cycle of a star, going from gas clouds to stellar nurseries, protostars, main sequence stars. From there, we will go down two paths, starting with red giants onto planetary nebula and white dwarfs, then following the other path of supergiant, supernova, neutron star and black hole. Gas clouds are accumulations of gas, dust and plasma in galaxies. It is denser than the average interstellar medium. Its density, size, temperature and content determine which type of cloud it is, as this affects the hydrogen content. They can be neutral, ionized or molecular. Neutral regions do not emit detectable visible light and can only be observed when there is a large amount of hydrogen gas in a small area. Ionized regions are large, low-density areas where star formation has recently occurred. Short-lived blue stars are created here and give off massive amounts of UV radiation, causing the ionization of the gas cloud. Often hundreds of light years across, these are similar to giant molecular clouds. They often give birth to thousands of stars before being dispersed by supernova and solar winds. Molecular regions are also known as stellar nurseries. These are dense and large interstellar clouds, with star formation occurring within them. This is possible because of the molecular hydrogen formation, which is used as fuel. They are detected by monitoring carbon monoxide luminosity, which is believed to have a direct link to the mass of hydrogen. There are multiple types of stellar nursery. Giant molecular clouds are between 10 to the 3 and 10 to the 7 larger than the mass of the Sun, and between 5 to 200 parsecs in diameter. They are also 100 to 1000 times more dense than the gases around the Sun. The densest areas are named molecular cores and appear as silhouettes as they block out background light from the stars. Examples of giant molecular clouds include the Orion molecular cloud and the Taurus molecular cloud. Protostars are formed by the collapse of a giant molecular cloud. This occurs when the gravitational forces acting inwards outweigh the forces of pressure from the molecules outwards, which usually occurs due to something breaking their equilibrium, like a supernova shockwave. This causes the cloud to fragment, the smallest of fragments of which contract into protostars. These fragments heat up as the gravitational energy is converted into kinetic energy. The protostar goes through several stages, which start with it releasing radiation from the gas cloud. The radiation in later stages remains in the cloud, causing a large temperature rise. The gas cloud starts to shrink compared to the protostar, while temperature continues to rise. Overall, protostars tend to last for around 10 million years. Class 3 then leads on to a star on the main sequence of a Hertzsprung-Russell diagram, creatively named a main sequence star. This only occurs after nuclear fusion is the primary energy source. The nuclear fusion of hydrogen nuclei generates massive amounts of thermal energy, preventing the collapse of the main sequence star, as they only avoid collapse by balancing the gravitational forces acting inwards with the thermal pressure forces acting outwards. The larger the star is, the faster it uses up its hydrogen reserves, meaning it has a shorter main sequence lifespan. Our Sun has a lifespan of 10 billion years. There are two paths from the main sequence stars. One is the red supergiant, the other is the red giant. The boring path starts with red giants. Red giants are stars with a solar mass of between 0.3 and 8 and occur when the star has burnt through its hydrogen reserves in the core. The star contracts as the core tries to swallow up the remaining hydrogen using its gravitational forces. The hydrogen fusion continues, but this time in the shells near the core, which is called thermonuclear fusion and causes the Sun to swell to 10 to 100 times larger than our Sun. The rate of fusion is increasingly massive due to the high temperatures near the core, and the light intensity increases by a factor of over 1000. The outer shells expand, causing a decrease in surface temperature, causing the star to appear red, a lower frequency of visible light than the yellow or orange main sequence stars. This then becomes a planetary nebula, formed by the red giant throwing off its shells. The various ionized gases present a beautiful spectrum of colour to the nebula. The nebula continues to grow until only the hot, dense white dwarf is remaining, not to be confused with red dwarf. It was originally thought these nebulae were made up of planets, hence the name. The white dwarf is the final step on this path, the incredibly dense remains of the red giant's core. They can be around the size of Earth, yet have the mass of our Sun. White dwarf stars are mainly composed of carbon and oxygen, but if temperatures and mass are great enough, then neon can also be formed. They are very hot. This temperature slowly decreases as it no longer has a method of creating energy, as the matter of the star no longer undergoes fusion reactions. They can only be sustained by a process known as electron degeneracy pressure, which causes the star to be very dense. In fact, these stars can be so dense that their gravitational field can magnify light, as seen here. This behaviour is similar to that of a black hole. The effect is called gravitational lensing. The second, far more interesting path begins with a supergiant, the largest and brightest stars in the cycle. These are so powerful they can fuse not only hydrogen, but helium in the core too. However, with great power comes a lack of life, as they only last between a few 100,000 years up to 30 million years. By the time they are created, they are already on a path to the most exciting parts of the cycle. The powerful supergiant doesn't just fade away though, it goes out with a bang, producing up to 10 to the 44 joules of energy in a very brief period of time, outshining galaxies. Our nearest man-made explosions are incomparable to the power of an exploding star. The explosion dissipates over a couple of weeks and is powerful enough to build a core of heavy elements like iron. After this tremendous explosion, there are another two options. The first is that it remains a neutron star, with a solar mass of around 2. They have a net electrical charge of 0, as they are mostly made up of neutrons. From one of the largest, most powerful stars in the cycle, the smallest star is formed, with a very, very high temperature, and an incredibly high density and gravitational pull. The other option is the unstoppable fury that is a black hole, an immeasurably dense point with a tremendous gravitational pull, created by a small, very, very dense remaining core. Black holes cannot be observed directly, only the absence of what should be present indicates their existence. For every black hole, there exists an event horizon, an imaginary line that beyond which, nothing, not even light, can escape the black hole. And so the cycle repeats. Our Sun is going through the cycle and is a product of the gas thrown off. Beginning with the gas cloud, a stellar inertia will have formed before fragmenting and condensing into a protostar, before fusion takes over and it becomes a main sequence star. This is the stage our Sun currently resides in. From here, our Sun will become a red giant in around 6.5 billion years, swelling up and engulfing everything up to Mars, before throwing off its layers to form a planetary nebula. This is where new stars will be able to form. The Sun will be a white dwarf at the centre of this new nebula. Every star will go through this cycle.
You